an employee health insurance platform called Plum has come out with a study called The State of Employee Benefits 2023. Many of the findings of this study are very interesting. 30% of the employers in this country do not extend health insurance coverage to the family, meaning your wife and children. About 75% do not extend it to the parents. The median level of sum insured offered by these covers is a meager 3 lakh rupees. To learn more about the findings of this study and to understand the overall state of health insurance provided by employers, we spoke to Abhishek Poddar, CEO and co-founder Plum. Do watch this interview to learn more. So Plum has done an extensive study on the group health insurance covers offered by employers. My first question to you is, what does Plum do in the group health insurance space? If you could tell us for the sake of our viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. So Plum is a 3-year-old company. We started during the time of pandemic. We are building a platform that allows the more modern organizations set up the right kind of health insurance, the right kind of health benefits for their team. Think about simplifying the insurance for your employees. Think about allowing your employees to get a more comprehensive care, be it a health checkup or a dental care or a mental wellness. So that's a platform that we are building, which allows the people leaders, the CHROs, the CEOs to really take care of their team rather than just offering insurance for the namesake.
Okay. So what was the trigger for the latest study that you have done?
This is a study called State of Employee Benefits. Our goal was that how can we enable companies of all shapes and sizes to take a more holistic care for their employees and their families, rather than just giving insurance for the namesake. And this is especially during the current environment of uncertainty that exists, a lot of layoffs, etc., that are happening, a lot of downturn that is happening. It is becoming more and more essential for companies to pay heed to employees' holistic health. This is also important because if you look at the cost of healthcare in India, the inflation with respect to healthcare is almost 2 times the regular inflation. The regular inflation is already very high, and we are all talking about inflation, but the cost of healthcare is seeing much more inflation. So which means that healthcare is becoming more and more unaffordable. Imagine one single illness draining out the entire lifetime savings of a family. And a lot of us would have actually have had a friend or a colleague during the times of COVID when we would have seen those scenarios. So we want employers to more deeply think about what is the right kind of benefits that they should set up, rather than just saying, hey, let me set up an insurance for them. So that was the whole goal behind this. One of the things that we talk about is if CTC can be benchmarked, the cost to company, if CTC can be benchmarked, why should benefits not be benchmarked?
Okay. What was the sample size of your study?
So Plum as an organization, we currently work with more than 3,000 organizations. For this specific study, we evaluated more than 2,500 organizations that have set up employer-sponsored health insurance and benefits. These are organizations of all sizes, of all shapes, from different industries, from different cities. These includes organizations that are early stage startups, imagine 100 people company, to some of the high growing businesses like a 500,000 people companies, to some of the unicorns as well, mature stage companies as well, which would have thousands or tens of thousands of employees.
What are some of the advantages of employer provided health insurance, which say your standard personal insurance cover doesn't offer you?
Got it. So I think the three big advantages that employer-sponsored health insurance can give is one, the burden of premium is on the organization, not on the employee. And given that the premiums itself are increasing, it can burn a big hole in your pocket if you have to carry that burden of the premium. Number two, these policies that are offered by the employers, they generally give you a day one cover, both for your pre-existing diseases or the named ailments. So imagine if you are a diabetic or you have high BP, etc. These would cover any ailments from day one. Your retail policy, generally the policy that you would buy online on your own, they would typically come with a 4-year waiting period. What waiting period typically means is that if I get a treatment that is triggered due to a pre-existing condition, that treatment won't be covered for the first 4 continuous years of the policy. So that is a huge benefit that you get as in an employer-sponsored cover. Also imagine covers like a cataract, etc. Those are mostly pre-existing conditions, right? So those are covered from day one. The last benefit that you get is a lot of retail covers do not even cover pre-existing diseases. Or they will deny you a cover itself. They will deny you a policy based on your pre-existing conditions. In a group cover, in an employer cover, there is no health checkup, there is no medical underwriting that happens. So irrespective of your health condition, you can get insured and your pre-existing diseases are covered and they're covered from day one. So I would say these are the big benefits. There are other smaller benefits like covering maternity, etc. But I think at the core of it, these are the biggest benefits that you get from an employer-sponsored cover.
So even people who are finding it difficult to get a health insurance cover of their own manage to get coverage through their employer's policy. Now,
correct. And I think just one more thing to add here, right? Now, I think as an employee, most of the employees will be in the age band of 30 years, 40 years. So they wouldn't have challenges buying a retail cover because they typically won't have a pre-existing condition. But what generally happens is I would have a parent who is 70 years old.
Very true.
My parent no one would actually offer them a health insurance cover at whatever cost. Even if I'm ready to pay extreme high amount of premium, I wouldn't even get a health insurance in the market. So it becomes much more important if you're getting an employer-sponsored cover for your entire family, which includes your mom and dad who will be in that age bracket of 60, 70, 80 years.
Now, your study uncovered a lot of shortcomings in these employer-provided covers. Now, the first one was 30% of organizations don't extend benefits to employee families. Does that refer to wife and children?
So this refers to the larger family, which includes the parents. So a lot of employers are still not covering the entire family right now, which is something that I think is very much required in today's day and age.
Very true. Very true. So what this means is they only extend the cover to the employee.
Correct.
And 75% don't extend benefits to parents. And even that is a big.
That's a big number, I think, and especially because we talked about how important, how critical it is to see the biggest spend that happens in anyone's family is because of the healthcare cost of parents. And because we also talked about how difficult it is to get cover from parents outside in the market, I think it becomes much more critical that you as an organization, are you able to offer support or your insurance benefits to parents in whatever way possible, right? It may be paid by the employer, maybe some burden of that is taken up by the employee themselves, but figure out a construct through which you can allow employees to get their parents insured.
Yeah, many Many organizations these days ask their employees to share a part of the cost of insuring their parents.
Correct.
The median, another finding was the median sum insured is rupees 3 lakh. Isn't this woefully inadequate?
It is. It is actually one of the very interesting insights, Sanjay, is that today's day and age, our government-sponsored Ayushman Bharat scheme offers a 5 lakh cover, which means that in our country, we look at 5 lakhs as, let's say, the bare minimum cover one should have for a health emergency. So if you're giving a 3 lakh cover, it means that even by the government standards, we are giving a lesser security, financial security to our employees and their family members. But there is a silver lining there that, hey, organizations are definitely moving towards that 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs cover. If we see the trend is very positive, where especially the more mature organizations have already moved to the 5 lakh cover, and the early stage organizations are also, right now the median is 3 lakh, but they're moving towards, as they also grow, they're moving towards the 5 lakh median sum insured.
And only 56% of a maternity benefit. Is maternity benefit really important? How much of a cost does it really impose? And after all, this is only a 1 or 2 time cost.
Yeah, so it's a great question, Sanjay. I think there are two sides of the coin here. One is one way to look at this is we want to, our organizations right now have 45 to 50% women employees. How do we build benefits that support all kinds of health and financial requirements of our women employees? So from that perspective, maternity is a very common and it's a very expected financial cost that someone has to incur, and why should the employer not offer that as a benefit, right? So that is one way to look at it, which means that 100% of the organization should offer some maternity benefit. Now the question is, hey, how much does a maternity cost? Really depends on where your organization is set up. If you are set up in a tier 1 city like a Bangalore or a Bombay, these days a normal maternity will cost anywhere between 60 to 80,000 rupees. A C-section may cost you anywhere between 80,000 to 1 lakh. So you have to make sure as an organization that, hey, you are your maternity, if you're setting up a maternity benefit, that's the kind of maternity that you offer. If you are in a smaller city, that cost maybe 20%, 30% lower cost. The other way to look at it, Sanjay, is that, hey, maybe 50,000, 60,000 is not a big expense and people can bear it from their own pocket. That's another point of view. So some organizations look at it, look at insurance from that perspective, that, hey, insurance is meant for a very large, unexpected treatment. So imagine a 5 lakh treatment that may happen. Can my insurance cover for that? Maternity is just a 50,000, 60,000 rupees expense. So people should be able to cover it from their own pocket. So that's a different perspective. I'm giving you two different perspectives of how people look at it.
True, but it would be very useful for, say, projecting your organization as being more women friendly. Very true. Now, 98% don't offer OPD coverage, but then most personal health insurance covers in India also don't come with OPD coverage. Very few do. Would you like to elaborate on this point?
Yeah, so I think one of the data to think about or imagine is, if you look at any of the financial reports that are published, 65%, roughly 65% of the healthcare spends by individuals are on OPD expenses. The other is IPD expenses. So if our insurance currently covers only IPD, then we are not covering the biggest spend that individuals have, right? So from that perspective, I think we as a country will, over a period of time, will move towards an insurance that covers OPD. And that kind of change has already happened in the developed organizations. If you look at US, if you look at most of the countries in Europe, you will see the insurance would cover your OPD expenses as well by default, be it a retail or a employer-sponsored plan. I think India is now moving in that direction, but we are still very early. As per the report, you would have seen only 2% of the organizations currently cover OPD. So that is one perspective of it. But I think the other perspective is very similar to maternity. I think the total quantum of OPD spend is huge, but at a per person level, you're probably spending 10,000-15,000 rupees per year on OPD, maybe 20,000 rupees on OPD. So the per person quantum is not huge. So even if you don't give an OPD insurance, it is not burning a big hole in the pocket of individuals. So that's the reason it has not reached that level of adoption that we would have wanted to, because it is not the most important priority. The priority should obviously be, hey, let me first cover IPD for a 5 lakh or a 10 lakh cover. That is much more important than let me give a OPD expense that would OPD insurance that would cover that 10,000, 15,000 rupees. So from a prioritization perspective, IPD is more important, but I think we are moving in the direction where more and more insurance will cover OPD.
Now, increasingly, there are cost pressures coming upon organizations. Do you think perhaps this trend of not offering too many benefits or offering curtailed benefits will only get worse as time goes by, or will organizations actually move towards better coverage?
No, that's a great question, Sanjay. I think a few observations, few learnings that we have had in these years is one, health insurance, health benefits is one area where it is very hard for any organization, any CHRO, any CEO to roll back a certain benefit. If I have given, let's say, a maternity benefit of 60,000 today, irrespective of how much cost pressure I have, that's probably the last cutback that I would do in terms of my budget. I would take all the measures to cut budget, but reduce the benefits, right? So that's just one learning that I have, which is irrespective of the cost pressures, benefits don't go down. Number two is, what does the current environment look like? I think this current environment is probably just it's probably going to stay for a year or 2 years. So in the larger scheme of things, I think organizations that are building for the long term, they wouldn't use the reason of cost as a way to not do the right thing for their employees. So even in the last 1 year since we started seeing the cost pressure on the organizations, we have actually seen many organizations still going and enhancing their benefits. A lot of organizations have kept their benefits as is, but no organization has actually cut down on the benefits that they have given.
Very true. And as employees become more conscious and more aware, probably employers will find it even harder to reduce benefits. So what have you observed? Are the bigger companies offering better benefits, or is it the smaller ones that offer better benefits?
No, that's a great question, actually. So just to set some context, we even at Plum, for example, we have more than 25 unicorns that are using Plum right now. We are probably the biggest platform for unicorns in India. And our study is some of these data points is based on what these unicorns are doing, but a lot more other larger organizations as well. So I think the headline is the larger organizations, the unicorns, etc. They definitely set up much better benefits than the smaller organizations. They are definitely raising the bar in terms of how to think about employee benefits. So if you think about some insured, their median is 5 lakh compared to, let's say, 3 lakhs for smaller organizations. If you look at maternity benefits, unicorns, of all the unicorns that we look at, 96% offer maternity benefits. compared to the 53% number for the smaller organizations. Within maternity benefit, the median is 81,000 for normal deliveries, which is a perfect benefit to be given for maternity compared to 50 to 60,000 for regular organizations. And then if you look at OPD, we spoke about the 2% of the organizations giving OPD. That number is 8x. That number is 16% for Indian unicorns. So I think these are some of the examples for what unicorns are doing, but I think the larger story is that the unicorns are definitely going above and beyond in terms of really setting the benchmark of what to do for their employees.
So the message for people out there is look for a job with a unicorn. They will offer you much better health insurance. In your view, what are some of the must-have features that an employer-provided health insurance cover must have? What are some of the basics?
So I would say look for these 4 or 5 things. One is an adequate coverage itself. So I would say anything below 5 lakhs is not adequate. Definitely look for that kind of a sum insured. Look for maternity benefits. The ideal maternity benefit is 80,000 to 1 lakh kind of a maternity benefit. Make sure that your pre-existing diseases and all other kinds of treatments are covered from day one. Most of the organizations do it, but it's you should definitely still check that is true. Also check for the family coverage. Does your employer cover your spouse, the kids, sometimes siblings as well, and sometimes parents and parents-in-laws. So these are from the spectrum of health insurance. Then outside health insurance, look for accident and life insurance, whether your employer covers for accidents, whether your employer gives you a life insurance cover as well. And some of the benchmarks there are for an accident insurance, 3 to 4x of your CTC, and for life insurance again, 2 to 4x of your CTC as the right cover that an organization should provide. And then outside the realm of insurance, this is all about health, life, accident insurance, but outside the realm of insurance, also look at how holistic the healthcare plan is, right? So does your organization provide you a primary healthcare, for example? So at Plum, we have set up a teleconsultation program where people have access to doctors 24/7 through all the specialists. So does your organization provide you that primary healthcare? Does your organization provide you mental and physical wellness, nutrition or gym memberships or OPD, right? So also look for things outside just the basic insurance, because those are the right ways or the right long-term investments into your health.
And one question from a more personal finance point of view, why should people not depend on the employer cover alone? Why is it very important to have your own personal cover?
Yeah, I think for 2 reasons. One is the employer cover may not be adequate, right? So someone giving you a 3 lakh to a 5 lakh cover may not cover the worst case scenario that you may have. So what I would personally do, and this is, I'm giving my example as well, I would buy a super top-up cover, maybe of a 20 lakh or a 30 lakh cover, so that my overall insurance coverage extends from a 5 lakh to a 25 lakh cover. So that really gives me a peace of mind that even in the worst case scenario, I have a financial backing. And I think the right cover to take is a super top-up cover rather than, again, a replica of the employer sponsored plan that you are getting. So that is one reason, which is increase the cover to give you the maximum financial protection. The second reason is you may not have your job forever, right? There may be scenarios where you may lose your job, or you may want to leave your job. Actually, losing the job may be a lesser probability, but I've seen this happening in the US, where people have to stick to their organization, not because they like that organization, but because they they don't have any other health insurance plan and they're just sticking around for a health insurance plan. That should not be the situation. You should not be in a situation where you're sticking around for an organization just because of your health insurance plan. So for those two reasons, I would say it is definitely advisable that you also have a personal health insurance plan. And my personal opinion there is to have a top-up kind of a plan rather than a base cover. So imagine taking a 20 lakh top up with a 3 lakh or a 5 lakh deductible. So even if you don't have your corporate health insurance plan, your out of pocket spend is maybe 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, right? But your worst case situation where you may have a 20 lakh expenses covered by your insurance.
Thank you, Mr. Poddar. It has been a pleasure interacting with you, and your study on employee benefits will come really useful. People will definitely gain a lot from it. Thank you so much and have a good day.
Hey, thank you so much, Sanjay, for having me on the show today.